Hello, Janksters, and welcome to another edition of the MagicJank Podcast, the show where members of Team MagicJank get together and we talk about Magic the Gathering, as you might have guessed or knew already. But yeah, my name's Graham. I go by Hamhocks42 on the internet, and I'm joined by the one and only Damien F16. Damien, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. Summer winding down, doing other stuff outdoors a little bit, playing some other stuff, but playing a lot of Magic still. So many changes over the last, few weeks. It feels like we've had a year's worth of changes and just like news and all kinds of stuff in the last like 2 months in Magic. So yeah, a lot going on, trying to stay on top of it all, but so far, yeah, doing well. How about you? How's life been for you?
I'm doing well. Big picture, life is going pretty darn well, and the Magic has been flowing nicely. I've had a very magical time this past week, and it's been delightful, which is wild because by all accounts, Standard is completely on fire. I know we talked a fair amount about it last week. Carlo and I went pretty deep on that. If you didn't listen to that show, folks, I definitely recommend checking it out. But I am curious about your feelings about Standard right now, because it's been a couple weeks since we've chatted about that. And so Vivi is all things, but does that reflect your experience?
Yeah, I agreed with basically. I listened to most of the podcast. I don't think I finished it, but I listened to at least the first half, and I agreed with basically everything you guys were saying. You nailed all of it, and so I don't want to like rehash everything you said last week, but yes, I agree with most of it. I think Vivi. I still play against Vivi decks more than any other one deck. I play against Vivi. I think the most, and that tracks, right? That's what we've seen in terms of the challenge results, the early preliminary RCQs that we're seeing filtering in. That said, we haven't had any huge ones yet. Like it's weird. Like you never know what LGSs and different organizations are going to do. A lot of times when a new set drops, like a Japanese, game shop will run like a big 200 player tournament. Bam. They offer a bunch of good prizes. They get tons of players. They rent out a space. And then everybody benefits. We all get these results immediately, like right after the new set drops or whatever. But that just kind of didn't happen. The RCQ season kind of started off with a whimper, not a bang. So we have a bunch of like 13 player, 22 player, RCQs, which aren't very valuable. I don't know about you, but for me, when I look at results, I know you don't probably care that much about the
I don't keep up as much as I ought to. I am definitely interested, and I wish I was more on board. So please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. There hasn't been a ton of, big tournaments. So the challenges are really the biggest things that have happened. And if you look at the online like Magic Online challenges, which are, they range from 50 or 60 to, 200 players for the showcase challenge or whatever it's called. They are all Vivi. It's crazy. It's just, and I mean, according to MTG Top 8, it's 50 or 40% of the metagame. So, yeah, it's an issue, and they need to ban it. They probably will end up banning Cauldron instead. And, you guys talked about all this stuff last week. I basically agree with all of it. It's Cauldron is not the problem. Like, we're all on the same page here.
Yeah, exactly.
But Arena's fascinating. So let's move off of that and talk about specifically Arena here. So Arena is all over the place, right? Like Arena is usually mixed bag of so people don't really care, but that said, when a deck does well, especially if it's a deck that is newer and it one copy shows up in the top 8 or even the top 16 of a Magic Online challenge, suddenly I see a bunch of it.
They're everywhere, 100%.
A week ago, there was a Boros aggro deck with like Sunspine links in the main and all this stuff, and it just it did well. I think it won one challenge, like first place. No other Boros aggro anywhere in the top, whatever, but it got first place. The next day on the ladder, I played against it 5 times. Like this kind of stuff happens. Teamer Battle Crier, same thing, or like Omniscience combo with Kona, I see randomly. So the Magic Arena ladder is all over the place still. I play against a lot of Vivi, but what do you think? Is it as varied as I'm saying, or
no? 100%. And I feel like it's kind of always been that way. Like the first thing that came to my mind the moment you mentioned that was right after the Pro Tour. I believe it was one of the ones in Chicago. There was one of the top 8 decks was a Golgari like up the beanstalk deck using the graveyard and like cost reduction creatures, and all of a sudden that like there was 2 weeks where that was every other match, it felt like. And that was just one top 8 deck. Didn't win the whole thing. It was just, there was one little sliver of something that people didn't expect to succeed.
Mhm.
And the excitement was palpable, and Arena players definitely
Yeah.
wanted to try, something that is proven and
Yeah.
good and different. Like the idea that Arena players have this kind of desire, kind of this hunger for novelty, is something that I think gets
Yeah.
lost in this conversation a lot, because people just assume that the meta is just super stale. And when you look at the tournament results that we do have, where, Carlo did a great job of breaking down some of the results, and Vivi is a shocking proportion. If you look at like untap.gg stats right now in like Platinum 2 Mythic in best of 3, the Vivi decks are 15% of like untapped users, which is a shockingly high percentage for, a mass, ladder with hundreds of thousands of games on it that are being tracked in that time.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not half of the decks. It's not, it's
No.
so when you say it's half of a tournament meta, that doesn't translate 1-to-1 to the Arena ladder. It just doesn't.
No. Yeah,
So
Arena ladder is
yeah.
something else. Yeah.
Well, and then best of 3 versus best of 1 is also completely different, which I played some.
Oh, yeah.
I took a break from best of 3 today to do a little best of 1, and I did the thing that I always do, where I picked a deck that was goofy and stupid with the intention of tanking my rank. Like, I'm just gonna have a goofy party right now, and I'm gonna lose all the time. Couldn't buy a loss, man. The deck just kept crushing. I couldn't help it.
Oh.
And in Mythic, it was the best of 1 Mythic. I started at 92%, ended at like 98%. I was like, what is happening? This is not. It was wild. And it was
the
running.
deck? What were you playing?
It was Sultai Rise of the Dark Realms. And if you're wondering, wait, what? Rise of the Dark Realms is a commander card that was in Foundations.
Oh.
Yeah, it's literally.
I know what it is.
Yeah,
It's a sorcery. Is it 2 black, 3 colorless?
Oh no, it's way more
No.
than that. It's
Rise
a
of the Dark
sorcery
Realms?
for 7
Oh.
black. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. This is a goofy, like, casual commander finisher. They put this in Foundations without any intention. Like, this is legal and standard and nobody cares, right? Except me. And so
Right, yeah. Well,
So it
did
was
you
a-
run into Vivi decks? Because like Cauldron and stuff has to be pretty good against the graveyard deck
well,
like this, right?
here was the thing. I was using Saz's Chocobo and Iridescent Vine Lasher in that deck as like early threats, and sometimes they just got the job done, which was fine by me. But I was using Ice Till Explorer to fill the graveyard, so it was
and there was
Aftermath
fetch
Analyst,
lands
Life
and-
Till Explorer, or Ice Till Explorer, and I had
Yeah.
3 copies of Glacial Godmaw and then 2 copies of Lumra. So the idea is, when I hit Rise of the Dark Realms, I pull out some number of Iridescent Vine Lashers and Glacier Godmaws, and there was 1 World Sire. Like, it was very silly. But as a result, we would hit it. There were a couple of times where I did hit a Rise of the Dark Realms, and literally 200 triggers hit the stack. All of whom, like, most of which were dealing damage or buffing my team and giving it haste. It was very silly. And the kind of thing that shouldn't
9
have
mana
worked.
sorcery.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of thing that should not have worked. I will be the first to tell you. And for some reason, it just, the removal didn't quite line up against it as well as people thought, I guess. And I didn't go up against too many Vivi decks, though, because it was best of 1. If I tried to build out a sideboard and make that a best of 3 deck, that would be smashing my face against a wall, and it would have been a nightmare, I'm sure. Now, Mossborn Hydro Landfall, that was everywhere. That was, the mono green landfall decks. Those were the thing.
Played against that
as you
bunch.
can imagine.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said about
best of 1.
Yeah, best of 1 is it is its own thing, and I felt like I was taking a break from. I felt like I was I accepted that it was going to be. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to be disparaging to best of 1, because it's a perfectly fine way to play Magic. It's just different, and it is a more shallow experience. It is,
I am very disparaging toward best of 1, but
I know.
I love that it exists, and I want it to exist. I know it should be a thing. It should always, it serves its purpose, and I'm glad it's there. I don't ever think they should remove best of 1, especially, it's on mobile, like Magic Arena's a mobile app. But it's, today we had a discussion about this on stream where I basically said, somebody was saying, I'm doing this really well in best of 1 with this deck. You should try in best of 3. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but Like best
Yeah.
of one doesn't translate. It's not real Magic, and that triggered a lot of people. People were like, "What do you mean it's not real Magic?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not. It's got a hand smoother. First of all, I mean, let's be honest. They're literally fixing your draws. Like that skews everything, right? From deck building to how powerful the winning the die roll is to how good certain
Mm-hmm.
archetypes are, et cetera, et cetera." And of course, I think Magic best of one is Magic like light. It's Magic. It's not real Magic. It's just a little taste of Magic, just because you just have this much time, so you just get to like play a little bit. But like real Magic requires sideboards, and that your story with that deck is exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing shouldn't be viable because real Magic plays with sideboards. So that's why we don't have this kind of magical Christmas land where everybody gets to do the thing. Like sideboards are what keeps everything in check. Otherwise, that kind of stuff would be insane, right? Just like if we had a hand smoother, it would be, aggro decks would just be favored and combo and whatever. But you know,
Sure.
you want to?
Oh, I find that idea interesting because I feel like the phrase "real magic." It sounds like you have, that is a very heavy
Sounds bad.
expression, and I
know.
just like it's funny because I do kind of want to push back on that a little bit because I feel like that's being very
Yeah.
dismissive to some of the most popular ways to play the game, and
It's very popular.
yeah, and well, but Commander doesn't use sideboards. Is Commander not real Magic?
Right. No, it's not. Commander's a Magic variant. Real Magic,
It is a different
actual
format.
Magic, the way,
Yeah.
like the way the game's designed to be played, it's 1v1 with sideboards, with best of 3 match with sideboard. The whole best of 3 idea has to be there, otherwise the variance takes over, right? And then it's a mess. It's people having to put random sideboard cards in their main deck. Like you see a lot of best of one lists where they're playing like a graveyard hate card in the main deck because it's best of one. You just have to like, and it just becomes a mess. It's like that's why the game is not designed to be played that way. Just like it's not designed to be played multiplayer. It's not designed to be played with singleton and all the 100 cards and all these other rules with a command zone. Now, are those valid ways to play Magic? Absolutely. And this is where you saying it's not real Magic is too much, and it's the phrasing is bad. I know
it's heavy, and I just wanted to challenge you on that, or at least give you a chance to speak to that, because I do think saying real Magic, because I think Magic is a lot of
triggers
things.
a lot of people.
Magic is a lot of things to a lot of people. So like the way that I try to describe it to folks, because I see your point, and the funny thing is, like, I disagree with those words, but I don't think I disagree with you and your intent at all. Like, I think we're on the same page there. In that
I'm being deliberate.
Okay. You're intentionally kind of pushing a button a little bit. Okay, fair enough.
A little bit.
I can appreciate that. We're all content creators here. I get it.
And I'm dumbing it down big time, right? I'm really oversimplifying it by saying it's not real Magic.
Okay.
Of course, it's Magic, but it isn't the way the game is designed to be played, like according to the comprehensive rules, and that's why sanctioned Magic is real Magic to me. It's the official way to play Magic, I guess would be a better way to put it, right?
Okay.
The official way to play Magic, sanctioned competitive Magic, is never going to be best of one. It's never going to be 100 cards.
Oh my goodness.
It's never going to be, all these, the Pro Tour will never turn into that. Please. If it does, it'll be, I don't know. That's a different game altogether.
I don't think we have to worry about that. Like, but you're right. If they did a best of one Pro Tour, that would just feel so wrong. Like, it just would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, and it's funny too, because like Commander tournaments also just feel wrong to me.
Oh, dude, CEDH is a gong show.
Well, that's the thing, though. Actually, what's really funny you mentioned that, because actually, just yesterday, I played my first game of genuine CEDH, where it was like no holds barred, friggin' just balls to the walls, go crazy. But it was with friends also doing that just to experience it. And it kind of ruled. Like, I gotta say, the rule zero,
powerful stuff.
Every card is on the table. There is no social contract. Like, gloves off, freaking go for it. Like, that was a very interesting gameplay experience. But we weren't playing for money,
And you're not really playing to see which deck is the best, because when everybody's just tainted packing for Thassa's Oracle, it doesn't matter who wins the die roll. And it was
a demonic consultation Thassa's Oracle win that I pulled out. Yeah, exactly. Like, it is right. Yeah, exactly. So and it's funny too, because like the stack battles, the intricacy, the holding priority and every little moment counting is a very interesting element that you don't often see in a lot of casual games, but you do see in competitive games.
Oh yeah.
Which is one of the things that's just it's lovely, and I felt like I got to experience that kind of on a new level with having to like dance around 3 opponents with these bonkers with these bonkers high power
Everybody
cards.
can just it's like everybody's got a gun to each other's head and is just going, all right, who's gonna shoot? Like
somebody go first. I dare
anybody
you.
can just win.
Yeah. And I also got to start both games with the Gemstone Cavern in play, which, oh my goodness, that was just the best. Anyway,
lovely.
I'm gonna start putting that in all my commander decks now. Anyway, but but so
well,
that
if your
is to
deck's
say,
a busted combo deck, then it's worth it, right? But don't
absolutely.
put it in your like more casual commander decks. But
no, I'm just gonna start the game. Yeah, I know that's the thing with fast mana. It's like, okay, I have a Gemstone Caverns in play, and I'm gonna Chrome Mox, and I got 2 cards in hand. Like, pass, I guess. Like, that gets awkward.
EDH is busted.
It can be.
Yeah, and I mean.
Yeah, and so as a result, that is not I don't feel like that should be a competitive, like, or not necessarily, I don't know if competitive is the right word, but like, it shouldn't be like a sanctioned competitive tournament format. Like, that just doesn't seem right to me. And that's where you get the crazy stories about the CEDH tournaments with 11 hours like games and like nonsense like that. Like, that just seems silly, because when money's on the line, people do whatever it takes. The angle shooting and the bad actors come out, and like,
right.
There's enough of that already in other tournaments and other formats that are more easily designed for it, that are built for it, like you're saying. Like,
sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's why sanctioned Magic is the only real way to play Magic. If you are trying to determine which deck is the best deck in X format, who's the best player in the room, like all these things, like we want to erase as much of the variance as possible. Let's make a nice structured framework within which to have this tournament. And you can build your decks within that framework, and they have to be sideboard, of course, because otherwise, it would be a crapshoot of people
Pretty
just
much.
like playing combo decks and going past ships passing each other in the night, right?
It's practically, it comes down to the mulligan or the coin flip. It's kind of wild how big of a difference that makes.
And I, for the record, I enjoy a ton of different Magic variants. I know I complain a lot on this very podcast about things like Commander, but usually it's the influence Commander's having on competitive constructed Magic that I complain about the most, and the card designs. And you guys covered Vivi last episode. It's exactly what I rail about for a long time now. But
Vivi, Nadu, those kind of things. Oh, we built it for Commander.
Yeah, and the One Ring and the on and on.
I mean, what are we doing? Yeah.
So many examples of this, but I like variants of Magic. I love Dan. I love Battle Box. I play, I love these formats, but like when we're talking about serious competitive environment or what is good in Standard, it's not alchemy decks. It's not best of one. Those are not real Standard like decks or metagame or formats. Like, they're just not, right? There's no best of one tournaments. Like, what data would that's why Vivi's only 15%, like you said. Because nobody like cares in best of one. It's like casual, like, kind of who cares Magic,
in best of one. I don't even know if that I gotta pull that up. I don't know that the Izzet deck is even like in the top 10 or in the top 8 most popular decks in best of one.
You'd think it would be good, but maybe in best of one, when people can't sideboard against you, the graveyard big go over the top swingy decks are just better, right? Like what you did, because they can't sideboard against you.
The Saz's Chocobo Tifa's Tifa combo decks Tifa landfall things are pretty much those appear to be kind of the best in class, as you would imagine, which absolutely buckle the sideboards, but if you're not playing with sideboards.
That's best of one. So let's get so back to Standard, actual Standard. It's interesting. I think the format, we've had a bit of a roller coaster. We had the bannings. Everybody was so excited. Everybody's like, oh, this rotation is going to be crazy because all these cards got banned, blah, blah, blah. And then, rotation happens, and we just end up with Vivi being 40% of the metagame. I know I haven't been having a ton of fun on the ladder. Normally, I try and play tier 1 decks. I was very into blue-white control. I thought that was one of the best decks, and it's put up probably the third or fourth best deck in Standard. It's in tier 1 maybe, but Vivi definitely the number one. Demir's up there, blue-white control, and a couple other ones, maybe an aggro deck of some flavor. But it doesn't feel like a great Standard environment right now. It feels like everybody's just waiting for the hammer to drop on either Cauldron or Vivi, and yet the next ban announcement is November 24th. So I don't know if, are they going to let this go for months? We'll see. All I know is I'm saying, you know what? I don't want to play any of these decks. I played a little bit of blue-white, but I'm like, oh, this is just blue-white again. I decided to pick up the Jeskai Teachings deck. So I got this list sent to me before rotation. I was playing this deck. I wrote an article about it on MTG Circle as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I said Jeskai Revelation. It's actually a Mystical Teachings deck. That's the key card, is Mystical Teachings. But Revelation is your win condition. Mystical Teachings is a card that's been around forever, and everybody knows it. It's super fun to play if you're a control player. You love stuff like this. It lets you search your library for any instant or creature with flash. So the whole deck is just a bunch of control cards that have that are instant speed and have flash. And when this card got put back into standard in Foundations, I think Saffron Olive was the first list that I came across online. Was Saffron Olive playing this wonky like 5-color, even splashing green for Songcaster Mage to flash stuff back. So I didn't see this until someone in my channel, Okay I Scoop, had sent me a list. And it had the green and everything, and I just cut all that. And I'm like, we can hone this down because I want to play Mystical Teachings. Honed it down to 3 colors, just splashing for black. So like really good sources, 18, 18, 17 for white, blue, and red, and then like 7 or 8 black sources. And it started performing really well. I shot up to like top 200 Mythic, like from, I don't know, Platinum or something. Just like been in Mythic the whole time, just beating almost everything. I think I'm like 12-1 or something against blue-white control. The whole deck operates at instant speed. You get to go over the top of people with Jeskai Revelation, which is really sweet. And you've got this toolbox of stuff. It's playing a bunch of one-ofs. It's a really fun deck. So I've been playing this. I've been actually pretty good against Vivi. It's very close. I think I'm like 50-50 against them, basically. I have won half my matches or so. And it feels good. It feels like, but it's got so much, decision making and so many, decision trees, branches on the tree, however you want to describe it. So many options because you can search your deck for anything with teachings, right? So it's been a blast to play. I've been playing it. And then somebody said, hey, Shahar Shenhar is playing your deck. And I was like, what? And then sure enough, he was playing a version of Mystical Teachings. And I was like, whoa.
The rules.
And then so he saw me playing it. He pops into my channel. We're like talking about different cards to play because you have access to any instant, just a one of. My whole sideboard is like Kutzil's Flanker for Graveyard Hate because you can fetch it up. Tidebinder, Stoic Sphinx against control. All these cards you can fetch up. Horned Lock Whale, right? Like anything with flash or an instant. So he was giving me a bunch of suggestions and we're bouncing ideas off each other. And I thought it was really, really awesome that somebody else was, somebody made way better than me. Shahar Shenhar's multiple world champion Magic player was playing this deck. And then it did well in a challenge. It got top 4 in a Magic Online challenge. And I was like, what? They're playing really weird stuff. They're playing heavier black, but I was like, maybe this deck is real. Maybe Teachings has legs. It's like a 4-color control deck. It's really tricky to play, but very powerful and can basically beat anybody. I think even the aggro matches would normally be the worst match for a deck like this. I play 0 creature or like 1 creature, basically 1 Tidebinder in the main. But you play 4 Lightning Helix, which gain you life. You've got tons of removal, plus 4 Jeskai Revelation gain you a bunch of life. You end up just gaining so much life passively that you have a good match against the more aggressive decks. So that's been what I've been doing in Standard, and it's been actually really fun. So if you are looking for something different and you're sick of the Vivi decks, but you want something that still has game, like, again, I don't think there's any deck out there that's a truly atrocious match, except one. Any deck playing main deck Sunspine Links. That is the bane of the Mystical Teachings deck, because I play 2 basics in the entire deck, right? So Sunspine Links comes down and just wrecks me at any point in the game. Like it's 6 to 9 damage almost every single time it comes down. And when that one aggro deck did well in that one challenge, and the next day I ran into Carlo, he was playing the Suns 4 Sunspine Links in the main deck. I was just like, I just lost like 4 matches that day to this stupid deck. So if you are seeing a lot of that, don't bring this to your local tournaments or whatever. But otherwise, the Teachings deck is sweet. It's not cheap to craft. There's a lot of rares, and the mana base is all rares. But the Teachings is such a fun card to play if you're looking for something different and you want to have some fun and you like long grindy matches with a lot of decisions. A big game of Magic, a big resource game. Where both players are seeing most of their deck. You're getting to turn 30 every game. Like if you like that kind of stuff. If you're a sicko like me, then try it. It's awesome.
Heck yeah. Well, and it sounds like
anyway,
also
that's all I have to say.
If you are in fact that style of sicko, I have a sneaking suspicion like the lands are going to be worth crafting kind of no matter what. Like those are all going to be valuable pieces that you're probably going to want, and a lot of the stuff, Yeah. I really appreciate the fact that this deck isn't running a ton of creatures, because I know when I think of the current control deck, I just kind of assume that it's like the Overlord of the Mistmore Beza thing. And I kind of dig that this isn't doing any of that. And
it's back to its roots. Control with no creatures is chef's kiss. Just game one, just looking at them and going, "Oh, you have 6 cards in your hand. How many of them are Doomblade and shoot the sheriff in this case or whatever?"
That is the best, especially when you're going up against like a mono black demons list and you realize like they have 4 cards. Why aren't they playing anything? It's like, oh, those are all creature kill spells.
They're all dead.
100%.
They're dead. Yeah,
you'll love.
So this deck does that a lot. And then people side in all kinds of bad stuff because it is a rogue deck. People don't know what to do against mystical teachings. They'll almost everybody who can sides in graveyard hate, which does nothing. Like you're playing like 2 or 3 copies of a teaching, and that's it. You don't buy anything else back. It doesn't matter.
Can't flashback that flashback was a fringe use anyway. Like that's fine.
Yeah,
it was a nice little bonus. Right?
Actually,
yeah.
Yeah, right. I haven't run into mill decks. I think a dedicated mill deck, like Carlo was talking last week about playing a mill deck, and I'd heard rumors of like blue-black mill. A couple of people in my channel said they were having success with Esper mill or blue-white. Like there's multiple, because there's Singularity Rupture, the blue-black sweeper that Carlo was talking about last week. But there's also the blue-white spell that mills you equal to your life, mills the opponent equal to your life total.
Yes.
Space-time anomaly. I can't remember the name. Space-time anomaly. Yeah.
So that one.
I guess there's some. Yeah, go ahead.
I personally am of the impression that Singularity Rupture is a significantly better way to do it, because I know just by virtue of being a little aggressive, I was able to. I tanked a Space-time anomaly River Churn Monument just today. That would have been lethal if it was a Singularity Rupture. And they had the mana for it, like if they had been in black. So it's one of those where I think Space-time anomaly. I get that it's cheaper. And you can put it in kind of a life gain package, but I've definitely tried doing variations of like life gain with Space-time anomaly. It feels like a trap to me, but there might be a version of it out there that totally works. But yeah, I feel like the thing about Rupture and the River Churn, as long as there's no rest in peace or anything on the battlefield, that's just 2 cards, bam, bam, game's over. Like clean kill shot. And I think that makes it significantly stronger in my opinion. But yeah. But I agree. People are doing it.
I was asking people for lists, but people were like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm still working on it." I never ran into it on the ladder. I think that might be another not great match for the Jeskai deck, but
possibly. Yeah.
Anyway, but I've been having fun with Jeskai. Now I'm kind of like, oh, I want something else. I'm looking for something new. I saw there's a Kona deck that's using Kona plus the spaceship land, which I thought was pretty sweet. Like you don't even have to play like a vehicle or spaceship to crew. It's playing the Kona is your tap. When it's tapped at the beginning of your second main, you get to cheat something in, so you can slam Omniscience and combo off and win the game that turn. You can also I think they're playing like Valgavoth and some other big bangers to cheat into play.
Vaultborn Tyrant is pretty common, yeah.
Right, Vaultborn. But Kona being nice, like they've got a couple of vehicles. There's the spaceship, the Seriema, I think, which is nice because it fetches. You can go turn 3 Seriema, fetch Kona out of your deck because you fetch any legendary creature when it ETBs. I think it's called the Seriema. Am I saying
Serema,
it correctly? But Serema, yeah.
The Serema, yep.
The Serema, and then you get Kona, and then next turn Kona crews or stations Serema and does the thing. But I love that they also play the land. They play the spaceship land or the space station with spacecraft. And so you don't even need the artifact. Like I didn't realize one turn they went off and I was like, what? And then I realized, oh, they stationed their land. I'm like, damn, I can't interfere with that. But Kona seems so fragile. Because again, you just as soon as they crew it, you just kill Kona, and then it just doesn't do the thing. Like there's that whole combat step where you can just instant speed kill Kona, and it doesn't do the thing. That's the huge weakness of that deck.
And Kona has 3 toughness too. It's funny. I have as a janky brewer who loves cheating in big things like way ahead of schedule. It's my favorite thing. Like I've had so many people, like when Duskmorn dropped, everybody was like, "Have you seen Kona? Have you seen Kona? Have you seen Kona? Oh my god, have you seen Kona?" It's like, "Have you seen Kona?" And I remember looking at this and being like, "It's a 4-drop with 3 toughness. Are you guys high? Like how is this gonna work?" But I gotta be honest, I think the planet lands, being able to station the land, like you don't even have to have any other permanent online. Like the opportunities for interaction have reduced now. And so that deck very much checks, do you have instant speed removal at this one time? And apparently the situation is such that like nowadays, The answer a lot of the time is no, they don't, and you'd
Yeah,
get a ton of
depending on the
crazy
deck.
value. Yeah.
But that's why I
so-
love playing the Revelation or the Teachings deck has a ton of removal control
Tons.
decks like that, or mid-range decks.
Mhm.
But like mono green, like the Tifa deck is cold to this, you know?
Totally.
Or what's another example? Like even Vivi, they don't play a ton. They have a couple
Not
into
really.
the Flood Maws, like Torch, maybe they have to sack something. They don't always have something to sack, and it's just like, yeah, they could just be cold to this as well. I think that's why you might see this deck, around more than maybe it should be, just because I think it does end up having a decent match against Vivi. I'm not even sure, but
I bet.
anyway, decks
Yeah,
I haven't
that
messed
tracks.
with, but
Yeah, and this is one I haven't
Yeah.
really played with either, but I know that it has a decent matchup against all of my Insidious Roots nonsense that I've been on, because I'm not running a lot of
nice.
instance. Like maybe I have a bitter Triumph, but often I don't. So here we are. Yeah. But at the same time, so I actually have a lot of fun matched up against this, doing some of my Insidious Roots nonsense or my Rise of the Dark Realm nonsense, because it comes down to, okay, whose thing is bigger and dumber? Let's go. I have outvalued these decks, and that feels great. Don't get me wrong, that's a rarity. Most of the time this gets me, but it's very fun when it works. Yeah, it's a good time. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
And people love this stuff. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Since Quicksilver Amulet back in the day, we've been trying to cheat stuff into play like this, and there's been so many ways. Squirming Emergence and Zombify. I know you love reanimating stuff.
do.
Reanimator's one way to
Dog
do
of
it.
Us Faithful is the best. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show and tells.
It's so funny because I look at Kona Rescue Beastie and it's like it's a 4-drop. You don't even need that much to set it up, and you just get a thing. And I don't know. I can see the appeal, and I'm glad people are having fun, but I'm not convinced that it's like the real deal. Like on the ladder, this is a fun thing where you'll be able to cheese some wins and maybe like climb. But when you get into high mythic, like being able to hold like a top 1200 spot at the end of the season with this, I'd be surprised. It's not impossible, I'm sure. An excellent player who just never makes a mistake could probably do it, but with maybe a really killer sideboard strat. But I don't know, like that gives me pause, and I'm not fully sold. Meanwhile, Smuggler Surprise, you cannot pry this out of my hands. I love this card so much. Is that a double standard? Yes, a little bit, but this one's an instant, so I'm willing to give it some grace. You know,
that's a big difference. And there's way less that interacts with this. I mean, again, we talked about Kona dying to everything. Lightning Strike, Lightning Helix, nowhere to run, every other Doomblade in the format, like every, damage spell almost. And yet Smuggler Surprise doesn't die to removal. And that just makes it like it's either you have a counter spell for this. So I again, the name is so fitting on this card. I've died to this card before when I'm not expecting it. But as soon as I know my opponent's deck has Smuggler Surprise, they can never resolve it again. It never does, like they're waiting for a window, and I just like, even if I don't have a counter, as long as I'm leaving one up, they're like, can they go for it here? It's like, probably not. And it gets awkward. But you surprise people for sure.
You do. Well, and that's the right thing there. You're a good control player who understands maybe don't tap out for the draw spell on your own end step, because I love checking like, okay, are you just playing a good control deck, or are you a good player? My favorite thing is when people tap out on their end step for like a Consult the Star Charts or something, because when they do that, like I think like, this is my end step. I'm casting on my end. I'm reclaiming it. You're casting a bunch of stuff on my end step. No, I'm gonna cast on my end step. It's a lot of fun, and that kind of that waiting game of like who's gonna flinch first is something that I find very interesting as a non-control player. I love battling control players to see, and Smuggler Surprise gives you that.
I think
like Kona's very on rails. Like it's going to do the thing at the timing that it's going to do. And the other person can see it coming and interact in a myriad of ways, theoretically, if they have the cards, obviously. Whereas Surprise, there's some interchange, and I enjoy it. And all the modes, too. Like, this has just been a heroic intervention sometimes to save from a Day of Judgment, and that works, and it's great. Like, sometimes it's what you need. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
absolutely. I've lost to it many times, but again, it's always a surprise. I'm like, oh, Smuggler Surprise in game 1. Okay, scoop.
Got it.
And now game 2. All right, now I know they're playing Smuggler. It's one of those kind of like Kona's the same thing. Like once they might get you in game 1 when you're like, oh, they're a Kona. Oh, an Omniscience. Okay, I just lose the game. But then game 2, you're just holding that removal, and they can just never get away with Kona. Like it's not like they're playing Snakeskin Veil in their deck and stuff, right? But
maybe
anyway, there's a lot of interesting decks. Yeah.
Maybe that's
in standard, but
maybe that's the move. I don't know.
the tech,
the Mistrise Village and the Snakeskin Veils. Maybe those are the move. I don't know. Yeah. or maybe
Yeah, Arena ladder, you see it
Cavernosaurus. Is
all,
that yeah? It's you can get wild.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. I think they're playing Cavern. They're playing Cavern or Mistrise Village. I see a lot of decks like the Teamer Battle Crier deck. Do you guys remember when I came back from the RC and I was on this podcast saying I lost to this crazy Teamer Battle Crier? You would not believe this deck.
I do remember
And
that.
at that point, it had never put up results, and then now I see it a bunch, and people are playing it on like I think somebody did well in a challenge again. So as soon as that happened, I see it a bunch on Arena. Because boy, it is a magical Christmas land deck. Like it
is.
does some crazy stuff. Like at the RC, this guy did it bang, bang, 2 games in a row to me and just had the nuts and killed me. But now that I've played against the deck a bunch, it loses to itself a lot. Like sometimes they just don't do anything because all their cards they're not amazing by themselves. Like once they all get into play together, but when they play a roaming throne for 4 and there's nothing else on the board, or they play like another random dork and you're like, what is this? Okay,
yeah,
keep killing all their stuff. But yeah, very crazy deck. But when you see it do its thing, holy cow, they draw a million cards, they put so much power on the battlefield, they attack you, give all their creatures haste, or they play the Dragon Hawk from Bloomburrow and exile. Yeah, like exile 8 cards and just do like 16 damage to me on end step or something.
Not much you can do about that. Yeah,
cow.
It is fun to watch.
But,
yeah, that one.
But boy, the deck.
Yeah. The deck's fun to watch, but it's also tough. It can be a little frustrating when you get got by it. I actually had one of my viewers submit a variant of it that was actually using a ton of colorless stuff that had like Ugin and the Eternity Elevator and a bunch of like crazy colorless things at the top and the card that really did put it over the top. Yeah, it's a 5-drop mana rock. It's not great. But it actually was helpful because I had so much power on the board. I was able to station it to really good effect. But the card that made that work was the Anti-Causal Vestige. Like Anti-Causal Vestige, all of a sudden totally like that clicked. That was lovely. And because all of a sudden that thing's free and it has a ton of power and it's like it's doing all the things you want. So yeah.
And when you kill it, like you can sweep it, but if it's on the board and you sweep and they just get to play it again, or I've like bounced it and then they just get to play it again off its own trigger, and it's like it's just impossible to get to deal with profitably or even at parity. Like you're always down on the exchange, it feels like.
Oh yeah.
So that was a huge pickup. That was a good call out. Yeah, because when I played against that deck in the RC, this didn't exist, and I think this gave it a huge bump. But anyway, I was talking about uncounterable lands. Yeah, Mistrise Village, that deck will also play just to force through, any kind of creature combo deck kind of has to play. I think I've seen it in Kona as well. I'm playing one in my Jeskai Teachings deck. Mistrise Village is awesome. Just if you're going to play a deck that wants to blow out the game to a big game of Magic versus, I don't know, for those of you listening, I'm not sure how many people know the difference between a small game and a big game. Like small game is it's not just the number of turns that the game lasts, it's the amount of resources. Like a big game deck wants to play lots of lands, draw lots of cards, see most of their deck, right? Those kind of decks, Mistrise Village is incredible. It's going to be just a staple in a lot of blue decks, I think, as long as it's legal and standard. And it's so frustrating when you're the control deck. I know that's why I'm 12-1 or whatever against blue-white control. The game goes long enough that eventually I find this, and I'm actively looking for it with Consult, with cards that let you dig deep and put a land in your hand. And then you just have uncounterable Jeskai Revelation, and they can't ever beat that. Like uncounterable everything, basically, right? It's very good. So I know the creature combo decks are all playing it. I like it a lot, but
for sure.
Anyway, standards all over the place. Crazy times. I don't know what's happening. I think we're gonna have to see what this RC the next RC is modern, or I can't remember when the standard RC is. Like we're having standard RCQ season now, but Carlo would know this, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, he's got a great head for dates on this stuff. So yeah.
But yeah, November 24th is the ban announcement. So the question is, will they do an emergency ban? I mean, November 24th is supposed to be the emergency ban announcement. They wanted to keep it to like a set date. But are we going to see a ban even before that? I don't know, right? Like
I don't know. The
40% of the metagame.
You can't plan for an emergency. I mean,
yeah, them locking it into dates was silly. I think we criticized this when they announced it.
Yeah,
right? I remember saying.
It seems odd to me, but yeah,
they're gonna have to break it, and we'll see. Yeah.
Maybe, or I mean, because otherwise, we have a situation where it feels like the standard card pool is pretty huge. Things are very like diverse, except for that one deck, and that one deck is the consensus best deck. I want to get back to a point where in this podcast we are debating what the best deck is. I miss those days. I want to get back to
nice.
that. Right?
Yeah. We'll see. I think we'll get there. I think the RC. Hopefully, people are playing new stuff, but I think at this point, I don't know. I don't know what Spider-Man is going to bring. I don't even want to really talk about that right now. But I was asking today. We were talking about on the channel, and I was asking you and some other people. Do we know anything about Spider-Man on Arena yet? Like, we don't actually know what the cards are going to be called, what the set's going to be called, what plane it's going to be on. We don't know anything. You guys were asking last week about what plane it might be on, speculating, right?
We were speculating.
It's just coming up. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah, nothing I've seen anyway. Yeah, if there's been any releases, they've been quiet and it hasn't been making the rounds because I haven't seen anything about it. Yeah, it was, at this point it was a couple months ago where they kind of dropped that bombshell that like the Spider-Man cards on Arena will have will be rebranded Universes Within, and that's the last I heard about it. I don't know. We've been jokingly or kind of disparagingly referring to it as, Spooder Dude or the Great Arachnid Boy or whatever. But like, what does that mean? Like, are they going to do a full like reflavoring? Like, last week I made I kind of was assuming that maybe they're going to do a lycanthropy thing with spiders. I don't know. Like, you could do a bunch of different places with it, but I have no idea. Yeah.
Or why not release, like, they've already put a bunch of Spider-Man spoilers out there. Why not spoil the equivalent Arena cards to at least show people, oh, look, here's the card in real life, and here's, just so we have some idea of what, like, it's weird, right? I don't know. Like, when is the set drop? It's going to be a few weeks. It's not that far away. 2 weeks? I don't even know. God, it's like, oh my goodness. It's not that far away. Isn't it? It's early September or something?
Oh, it's late September. No. It's, so we have a little over a month. So yeah, it's a little bit more than that, thankfully.
A month? Okay.
Yeah, September 26th is the official release. Yeah, I don't know.
So I wonder if we're going to see spoilers. Early access is going to be super weird because we're like the streamers, I guess. I don't know. We see all the spoilers, but then they're all going to be different online. It's the same cards, but it tricks my brain, right? I mean, how many of us associate art with the card? I've drafted in Korean, I've drafted in Japanese, I've drafted in other languages, and it's fine because I know the set so well. The art, the casting cost. Okay, I know exactly what that card is,
And that's such a given that they print textless cards all the time, and they're only printing more.
Right.
Like where if you see the artwork and you see the name, you know what it is.
I haven't seen that yet. That is sweet. The Soul Stone.
I pulled up. I pulled up for for audio folks. I pulled up the Soul Stone. This is the gold collector booster version that is textless, and it has this like gold shimmer to it, which looks great. And this is actually one thing Carlo and I were making the question last week if this was maybe intended to be serialized, but for some reason they weren't able to do that because it definitely looks like it's meant to be a serialized card to the point where even in the lower right corner it looks like there was space for the stamp in the art, and that's maybe I'm just theorizing here. That's maybe talking out of school, but you may wonder.
Again, none of these cards are going to be. It's not going to be the Soul Stone on Arena, and not being able to associate visually like for a lot of the cards is so weird. I don't know. Like, you can read a limited set review, but once when we play that set in early access or whatever, it's gonna be like it's gonna feel like a different set of cards, right?
Yeah.
So weird to not have spoilers. I don't know. I'm hoping we see something about that soon, but
yeah, me too. And I hope it isn't just something that they try to sweep under the rug as though we don't care. Because I think they might try to release all the Spider-Man previews and be like, make this huge deal about Spider-Man, and then just kind of like, oh, and here's the card gallery for Arena for whatever. But look at these cards, look at the Spider-Man cards. Like, I'm expecting something like that, kind of like how they did with the Universes Within, cards from the secret, when they did the mechanically unique secret layers and ultimately did do in-universe versions. They were kind of with minimal kind of fanfare, and they were just in some set boosters, and it's like, there, will you shut up now? And can we move on? And I'm afraid that they might treat this the same way, even though a huge portion of their player base is going to be interacting with them numerous hours throughout each day. Like, it's different this time. Yeah. It just is.
It's crazy. So we'll see what happens. And we're getting Avatar spoilers already as well. So many. I don't know if you've looked at those, but
I have. So it's crazy on Scryfall right now. If you look up the different spoilers. If you look up the Spider-Man spoilers, there are 99 cards from the mainline Spider-Man set, but there are like over 200 cards from the Avatar set spoiled at this point. Like, I think that includes like alternate art treatments and stuff. So the actual mainline set, it looks like they've given us 110. But even so, in the mainline standard Avatar set, we have now seen more cards than the mainline Spider-Man set. Now, I believe Avatar is going to be a bigger set.
Yeah.
But even so,
yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
But even so,
I know
holy
it's still
cow.
silly. Like people are asking me what I think, and I'm like, can we just? I don't want to even comment on these yet. I just want to see what Spider-Man. What happens with Spider-Man first? What do you think is gonna? Look at his Avatar card for standard. I'm like, but hold on, we don't know what standard's gonna look like until Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Avatar right now. But man, the hype is crazy. I think they look cool for what it's worth. I think the Avatar, the art, the flavor, like, it's the usual. Like the Universes Beyond set all feel great to me, like in terms of flavor and nailing the feel of the set or whatever. But I just don't want to even look at them right now because I want to deal with one set at a time,
Yeah, I mean,
so we'll see what happens. But
I feel like I have a ton of cards from friggin' Edge of Eternities that I still haven't really put through their paces yet. Like, that's just have.
Yeah.
I actually on stream just I think last week I referred to Edge in the past tense. I was like, yeah, I had a lot of fun with Edge, and they were like, it's the current set, dude. Like, oh right, like it's bonkers.
It's not.
Well, and that actually touched on something that, I mean, we talk all the time about product fatigue, and I think all of us in the space do because we feel it every freaking day right now because spoilers are coming so fast and just furiously. And this particular kind of, the Q3, Q4 just battery of releases that we're feeling this year is at a whole other level. So we're very much feeling it right now. Yeah. And there was actually a statement that was made. Somebody commented on Mark Rosewater's blog, Blogatog, basically expressing frustration about how we as enfranchised fans are wanting to stay up on all of the cards. We want to know the everything coming out, and we want to fully experience Magic in its entirety. And right now, we pretty much just can't do that. And it's to a point where it's not even a matter of I can't even buy all the cards. It's literally I can't look them all up and read them and maintain a job and a life at this point, which is kind of getting wild. And Mark Rosewater, the head designer of Magic, responded with an interesting response, kind of an interesting counterpoint to this idea. And in it, I mean, it was a long kind of essay, and I'll make sure or not essay, but it was a long response on his blog, and I'll link it in the description, so you can go out and read the whole entirety. But what it summarizes
and read it. It's very good. Read the whole thing. It was actually really informative. But yeah, carry on.
It was, and I'm going to do my best to summarize it. And feel free if I miss anything, feel free to jump in. But the general idea was when the game was first made 30 years ago, the internet wasn't in people's homes. And so this idea of having full access to information just wasn't really expected. And I know a lot of us had the experience of reading a Magic card for the first time in our hands and discovering it for the first time when someone played it against us. And that was kind of the original intent of the trading card game, is there would just be an inherent scarcity by virtue of it just being cards. And there was no intention for everyone to know all of them. However, the internet kind of changed the game, and concealing or keeping information hidden from people is just something that you don't do anymore, really. Ask all the politicians; they'll tell you that doesn't work the way they want it to. And so at the end of the day, they can't withhold this kind of information from folks if they're out in the wild, and these databases and everything are just going to exist. But now we've reached a point where the amount of products that they're pumping out is creating an environment that does become almost impossible to keep up with. So at the commander table, you might see a card that you've literally never played before. And Maro's kind of presenting this question or this idea that is in the spirit of the game as it was designed, that we should be surprised in gameplay sometimes. And basically the idea that that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I So
Is
what do
that
you
was that your
think of
takeaway
that?
as well, or what was or was that
Yeah.
yeah
No, that's exactly right. He's saying
yeah
you don't have to have access to all the
mm-hmm.
information all the time. You don't have to be able to collect everything. The point of Magic is not to collect them all. It's not
Right.
Pokemon or whatever. You're not, And so if there's a secret layer that you can't afford, this thing or that, like if it's too many products, that's not a bad thing, and that's the spirit of the game. So I think you have to separate. There's two things going on here, and I think this is where Maro's being a little bit disingenuous with what he's saying. He's not wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
if you go back to Richard Garfield and what he anticipated, like you said, it was supposed to be this novel experience every time. People were That's why there were rarities. You were supposed to not. There were rare cards that were so rare that you could see one and go, I've never seen this card before, and I've been playing Magic for 2 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when it first came out. So, yes, even though that was how he envisioned it originally, I think, the internet and everything, it doesn't mean you have to strive to be that again. And I think he's using that as an excuse to justify the vast amount of product that's constantly being shoveled on top of us. We're drowning in it, and there's still more coming and more and more, and it never stops. And he's going, well, you're not supposed to engage with it all. That's the beauty of the
Mm-hmm.
the game, and it's getting back to what it's supposed to be. You're not, but it's like, but that's not the same thing. You're almost taking something away from us by not being able to experience it all, because a lot of people love the game. They want to see everything, but you're just pumping out so much stuff that we can't. That's not the spirit of the game. That's not the same thing as what Richard Garfield envisioned, right? That's the way I see it. It's like, I know what he's saying and he's not wrong, but at the same time, I don't think that's an excuse for what they're doing now. What they're doing is something else entirely. And
Yep.
I guess that's the way I see it. So I don't know. What do you think about this?
100%. Yeah. I believe he's touching on something that is important and relevant. And this kind of idea that maybe not being aware of everything can lead to fun moments within gameplay is a point that has merit. But this is spin. Like, this is a corporate spin.
Yeah.
100%. There's no question. And whether it's a spin that we're willing to accept or not, we kind of acknowledge it's just he's spinning it, because at the end of the day, the reason that they're making so many products is because we keep buying all these products. Like, the market demands more, and they're going to produce because that makes them lots of money, and they're not wrong for doing that. It's just that is the real reason. Like, yeah.
And there is product fatigue. I mean, if they wanted to keep that spirit of the game that he's describing, there are other ways they could do it, not by flooding the market with so many products that people simply can't buy it all. That's not the spirit that Richard Garfield originally intended, right?
Not at all.
If you want that aspect of the game to be maintained, it's very difficult, but there are some things they could do. But it would be difficult, and it would probably still end up, being niche products that would be expensive and stuff like that. But just flooding them like 6 sets a year and all this other stuff, like, and all the secret layers and the commander decks and blah blah blah. It's like, it's way too much. It's the reason their stock got devalued and brought down, because they said you're cannibalizing your own market here by flooding. It's called product fatigue. You're gonna wipe out your consumer base by overloading them with stuff, right? Because eventually, when you print that many products, you're gonna lose money on some of them, because, like you said, not everybody can get all of them. I knew people who bought a box every single set. Every single set. I knew some people, dudes in the military back when I was living in Asia, the army dudes that I knew, they would buy a case. 6 boxes of every set.
Holy cow.
And just crack them. They would just sit there at pre-release and just crack all of them.
Didn't even draft them,
or whatever. They would crack all of them.
Just rip them open. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And they would, because I would help them. They would ask for help. They're like, help me crack. And we just end up with these stacks of cards. Tons of people did this. But these days, nobody can afford to do. Only the whales can afford to do that kind of thing, right? There's just way too much product. So it's not like they're, like, I don't know, you're just forcing your customers to have to pick and choose between which sets they want to engage with. And that feels bad, because people love the game and they want to engage with all the sets, at least all the sets equally, the way they used to. And now they just can't. They literally can't afford to. It's crazy. So it's a weird one. I think he's kind of using it as a way to justify it. And I don't envy that man his job. I feel
oh my goodness,
like that poor guy has to justify the kind of, profiteering and decisions coming down from the corporate, the board upstairs. And he's trying to couch it in this, it's like Magic's a different game now. And like, we, it should be a mystery that we're going to put out so much stuff that you're going to not be able to keep track of it all, and you're going to run into something that you don't know. Isn't that kind of like, yeah, but like, you're arriving at that destination, but you're taking this weird roundabout route to get there, and it's not the right way.
Oh, I could not agree more. I do not envy Mark Rosewater's job either. And like, by all, like, I don't know Mr. Rosewater, personally. I've shook hands with him at conventions and stuff, and by all accounts, he seems like just the sweetest, most passionate dude. Like,
sure.
and clearly loves this game. Yeah. And like, it's funny too, because the sheer amount of like vitriol that he must like have to just sort of roll with on any given day is nuts.
Yeah,
and that like I feel like that's being the face of something where people are so passionate. That can't be easy. And so
and trying to be the middleman between the corporation and the fans, and you can't make both happy, and you're trying to justify why, it's like
right. Well, and the other thing about that is like he's making all this content in addition to making the game. Like he is a huge reason of why Magic is the way it is right now. And let's be honest, if you're listening to this, it's because Magic is fun and you like it. And like he made it he is a part of the team that made it what it is today. So yeah, at the end of the day, even if we're given a particular take or a particular spin, maybe we're being a little critical of it. At the end of the day, I've got nothing but respect for Mark Rosewater, and I'm grateful for the legacy work he's put into this game. I'm happy to go on record saying that.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think the people who complain the most about this kind of thing are the players who kind of grew up or came up in Magic in a different era, who used to buy a box every set, who are now annoyed by the fact that they can't. But I imagine if you're a new player, like I try and be objective here, put myself in the position of a new player, maybe there's an exciting element to this. Like, wow, this is just like a massive universe that I can't even see the edge, like it's so deep and broad. I can't even experience it all. Like, this is amazing. And there's all this new stuff to do. Like, talk about replayability and replay value. Like I can blah, 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 and all these formats, da, da, da. Maybe there's a lot of players who love it. Maybe there's players who love this. I don't know. I think for every player like that, there's probably players who look and go, "Oh my God, what now? This is a what? But that's standard. But this is what packs are these? Oh, what? And online. Oh, the alchemy. What's alchemy? Oh, it's a whole separate thing. And like it's got to be so confusing. I think in the end, there's probably a lot of excited players knowing there's so much content, and there's just so much more content added every year, more DLC than any other game you've ever played. But at the same time, I think there's got to be more players who are put off by that, who would normally get into it and go, oh my God, this is like EVE Online, the card game, or like some crazy, like complicated strategy game that I'm just like, I can't even get into. I don't know. Like I wonder where the majority of players fall, right? It's got to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's like we talk about new sets, universes beyond getting new players. Sorry, the last thing we talked about Final Fantasy. New players come into the game, and they play their cards, they love their set, they want their thing, and then they realize, whoa, I'm just a small fish in this huge pond. Like when I get into now, I'm playing at F&M or Store Championship, and nobody's playing Final Fantasy cards. Holy crap! Like, wait a minute, what? Oh, there's all these other things that, wow, what is that? And that's like 3 years old already, but it's still, and this format is legal to this, and I think a lot of them are. Those new players that are coming in because of the universes beyond are very quickly going to hit a wall where it's like, hey, you have to scale that huge wall of time and effort learning that level of the game and money, or else you are relegated to your kitchen table with your friends who also played at the pre-release or whatever. Like, that wall is something I think every player hits, and it's like, do they go over it, or do they just stay on the other side and never engage again? Like,
true.
I don't know.
Well, I think any
data on this.
Oh man, if only. Because I think any hobby or any endeavor is going to have that. But you're not wrong. I mean, if you want to go deep into Magic, it goes super deep. It just does.
Yeah.
We've been at this for, we've been playing for genuine decades, and I still learn new stuff and new interaction and all kinds of stuff. Like you can't help it. The notion that no one player can know everything is something that I find very intriguing, and that's one of the reasons why
I do like that.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It makes the discovery very interesting, but there are certain elements, and there is a depth there that and you're talking just like, or kind of alluding to the card pool, and that's its own thing. But even the interaction, Like, and I would say the layers of interaction, but I don't necessarily mean layers, although those two, like, I know just enough to know that I don't know squat when it comes to layers, and I'm going to defer to a judge on that one every single time. And
Oh yeah.
but
Well, that's one of the best parts of Magic is that rule set. It's
there's
such
always
a, great, like,
a correct
rule
answer.
set.
Yeah, which is funny. That's something that
Yes.
I've heard people comment who play both Magic and like Warhammer, and the notion that there are rules in Warhammer or like even in D&D, but that's more of a collaborative effort. So like the notion that there are rules
Yeah.
that are like open for interpretation and it depends on what judge you have.
Yeah.
Like as a Magic player, it's like,
Yeah.
what? No, there is a correct answer every single
Yeah.
time, which is why the Magic Comprehensive Rulebook is hundreds of pages long.
Well, that's
you
what's
know?
so weird. Like, it's almost like sports where like a ref can make a call and it can be like, oh, like half the people say, whoa, that was definitely not the right call. And half the people like, no, that is the right call. And it's like up for debate. Like they literally have to check a replay. And even then it's like, what? Oh my God, was it in? Was it out? You know, that
How
kind
much
of thing.
of the shoe needs to be on the line? Is it all that stuff?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think Warhammer is like I used to play Warhammer, like a fantasy,
Oh,
the
right
original,
on.
not
Yeah.
40K, but original Warhammer I used to play a lot. And yes, there are so many rules. Or there's in Magic when two things conflict. That's why we have layers, so that because there's so many things that directly contradict one another, and then layers lets you figure out okay which one takes precedent over the other one. But in other games, it is not that well spelt out. Like it's ambiguous. Two cards, two abilities on this creature and that spell do the same thing, but they're worded differently, and you're like, how?
And it makes
They're
all
like,
the
does
difference in the
this-
world.
Which
Yep.
one? And it's just like a house rule essentially. We used to house rule that stuff, but
Sure.
at a tournament, like when we're talking about like again, that's why competitive Magic is so integral to the game and why it's such an important part of the game. And I hate to see it dying. The rules are so well structured and well built that you can have this pro tour. You can really put 50 grand on the line, and people will try to cheat or whatever, but they just can't. They're locked in by those rules. It's going to be the best player wins, and whoever got luckiest with their draws and whatever, and that's it. Other games, it's like, yeah, can you imagine like the Yu-Gi-Oh's like that too, where there's some rules that are really ambiguous, and yeah, just there's no official like this is how it always works. Like it depends on who's at the shop that day, whoever the judge is, whatever.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
I can't imagine playing that. That's not competitive. That can't be like competitive. Has to be this is the rule, strictly bang. We account for every situation, right? So Magic's awesome for that. But
I love it. Yeah, it's great. And actually, I ran into an interesting layer interaction. This is a bit of an aside, but I tried to build a deck. I've been trying to build with Shu Ifit, Osteo Harmonist, the human wizard from Edge of Eternity's 2/3 for 3. She has this ability: tap, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a skeleton in addition to its other types and has no abilities. Activate only as a sorcery. Well, it becomes a skeleton. So I was thinking, oh, let me do some skeleton shenanigans. We have Corpses of the Lost from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste. And when Corpse of the Lost enters, you make a skeleton, and then you can also bounce to your hand and do stuff. Well, fun fact, if the Corpse of the Lost is already on the battlefield, when you activate Shu Ifit and reanimate something, that thing now enters the battlefield as a skeleton, but it has no abilities. So question, does that skeleton get haste from Corpses of the Lost?
No.
It does not, correct.
No.
Yeah, but... But if you've reanimated something with Shu Ifit, it enters as a skeleton that has no abilities, and then if you play the Corpses of the Lost, then it gets haste because the timestamp is such. Yeah, and like that was, and that was one that I kind of was tinkering with a little bit. That was one of those where like I was playing in the play queue with it, just trying to get a deck together that could take advantage of it, and I hit that interaction, and I had a moment of like, I need to go into a bot match and like tinker with all the different interactions of this because I need to see like how does this work exactly, and sure enough, it was a layer timestamp thing, and it's like, oh, okay, interesting.
And there's like judges and things who will be like, this is the way it works. I don't know why it works like that, but that's how it works. Like the rules.
Just trust me.
I've had multiple instances in tournaments and things. I mean, even recently, what was it? The Overlords from Duskmourn are a very weird card type, and the way they impend is very weird and leads to a lot of weird rules interactions. I think it was Dragonstorm, Tarkir Dragonstorm. There was a 2-drop, blue 2-drop, Tygam. Tygam says something about copying a spell, but if you copy an impended Overlord, Yeah, so Tygam Master Opportunist says,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, then exile the original spell you cast with
Mm-hmm.
4 time counters on it. So what happens if you have Tygam, you play one spell, and then your second spell is Impend the Overlord. So you could do this in Standard on turn 3, and Impend the Black Overlord.
Yep.
What happens is the Black Overlord gets suspended with 4 counters, but the copy comes in as a full creature, a 5/4 on turn 3, with all the abilities it triggers. It still has time counters on it, but it's a creature, and it gets to attack the next turn and do all the things and trigger.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
turn 3. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
It entering with no counters on it, I would understand, because like, oh, it doesn't copy the fact that it was impended, but it still has the impending, the counters. I believe
it has
you.
The time counters on it, the impending counters, but it's a creature, not an enchantment, so it still gets to attack and everything, even though it has impending counters on it. It's
so weird.
Bizarre.
I believe it,
but basically you can get like a turn, but you can get a full Overlord on turn 3. Like weird. Like I'm like, wait, what? Like when the first time that happened, I was like, what? And it's not, Tygam's not good enough for Standard. You don't see this kind of thing happen, but it's pretty gross, like what you could do, and just a weird rules interaction. Anyway,
and how does that work with?
I love that kind
too?
of stuff.
Ooh, okay. I've been having some fun stuff.
Tygam's weird, dude.
I've been having some fun stuff with like Dour Port Mage, like Splash Puddle Warp Scam action. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's fun. Yeah. Throwing Tygam in, make it even weirder. Sure, why not? Like, all right.
Oh yeah, it's I don't even know how. Like I don't know why the rules on Arena. It's just gonna do the thing, and you're gonna go, "Whoa, what? Why did that happen?"
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time somebody does that, the Overlord's gonna enter as a creature and just be like, not suspended and anything. And you're also gonna have another Overlord on suspend, and that's ticking down. It's weird, but there's been so many things like this. But this is why Magic's awesome. The rules there is an answer and a specific way to do it that is correct. And it's always going to be correct in every situation because the rules are such, the rules are the rules that they are in Magic. It's all accounted for. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Other games don't have that. So you can't have this kind of stuff.
Well, and those little interactions, the way that those kind of like lock in is because the rules are so detailed. And like that almost feels like a computer glitch. Yeah. Like, like it's like really because
it feels like
it's unintuitive, but trust me, it does work that way. Like, oh, okay. That's really interesting. Yeah.
And sometimes it's so unintuitive that they change the rules. For example, recently, when they just changed the rules with Edge of Eternities for sagas, the way it worked before was like weird. It was not intuitive. Like the saga loses all abilities, but it keeps ticking up and sacrifices itself. How can it keep getting lore counters if it doesn't have any abilities? And they changed the rule with that, right? Which really it does affect competitive play. Like Urza Saga in Modern is really what this gets affected by the most because Blood Moon and other effects exist. But it's interesting how it was so unintuitive. They changed the rule. And
they genuinely changed the rule. Yeah.
Intuitive.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it makes sense. I think the rule previously was like it loses all of its subtypes and all of its abilities. Therefore, it doesn't have any like lore abilities on it. So its maximum lore counters is 0. And so if it has 0 or more, it sacrifices, which, like, okay, I can see the if then statements. I see how you got there, but like, what? Like, why was it? And so they changed it. So that, if you strip the abilities, and they just changed the rule, they went in and patched it. They identified that, like, okay, we have this little issue, and so now all of a sudden, Urza Saga doesn't add a Blood Moon. It will stop ticking up. You stop getting counters on it. Nothing triggers, but you have a mountain, like the way that you would think. It's like, okay, cool, makes sense.
But that's what I mean. I think that's an perfect example of why the rules are so good in Magic that they even work so consistently that it produces a result that you're like, okay, well, that is how it should work, but that's not intuitive. So the rules are so good that they will still make it work. Like, it's going to get a counter and it's going to get destroyed. Like the rules are very clear on how it should work. And they have to literally go in and, okay, the rules are actually too good here. We have to like loosen this up a little bit and make sure that it, I love that. That's how good Magic is. It's great for that stuff. But
and as a result, 99% of the time, it works the exact way you think it does when you read the card. And that's because of how detailed everything is on the back end. There are very few like angle shoots. There's actually one interaction that I try not to abuse in my decks because I disagree with the way the rules work. And
on principle, you just
kind of actually. And it's one that I know a lot of people like a lot of people I know do tinker with it. I'm trying to pull up a good example of it. So cards like Bramble Familiar are 2-drop.
Yeah.
2-drop creatures. I think you probably know where I'm going with this. A Bramble Familiar is a 2-drop creature, but it has this 7-drop fetch quest on it. And this used to work where if you were to cascade into it, you could cast a 7-drop, but they changed that. And so now if you cascade into it, you can only cast a spell that is lower. The same works with Discover. But you have some cards, like, some cards that allow you to like plot a card, for example, where all of a sudden like there's the Jace from Thunder Junction that lets you plot a card. Jace Reawakened. It'll let you plot a card with mana value 3 or less. Well, you can plot a Bramble Familiar, and then from the Exile Zone, you can cast Fetch Quest, the 7-drop sorcery.
The back, yeah.
And I get that within the rules, that's fine, because plot is not cascade, but you are abusing an interaction that they have patched in another instance. And so that's one where I get that it's narrow, but when I see decks using that and people are like, oh my goodness, you can do that. It's like, yeah, I know. But I feel kind of dirty. That feels like I'm cheating. I found an end around to this fix that they put in.
That's kind of the whole shtick of Commander. Yeah, you're over there going, you know what? I'm not going to stoop to that level. That's not even. And I'm going. What can we do? I'm looking for that.
I'll reenact the crime of Rise of the Dark Realms and not think anything of it. But
there you go. Yeah,
but I do that kind of stuff all the time, and I enjoy doing that stuff. And I feel like I'm cheating within the rules. This feels like I'm cheating in a way that they just haven't patched yet. This feels like an exploit, frankly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But dude, there are whole decks built around that. That's what I'm saying. Competitive players, that we're looking for that. I'm looking at any interaction that's abusable like that. I mean, look at
Crashing Footfalls,
the other ruling they changed. It was that's the Cascade card in Modern. But I was thinking of Mizzix Mastery and Tybalt interactions and Jar of Eyeballs. There was the way the rules used to work with split cards was if you could cast one half, you could cast both sides of the card. So I think it was Jar of Eyeballs. Yeah, look at. Oh, I don't know. Okay, it was this card and some other card, and you were cascading into a dual like a split card, and you were hitting the front half but casting both sides or casting the back half.
Wow!
I think it was both or something crazy. And
so we're talking a fire and ice.
Using Jar of Eyeballs, and it was using all this other stuff. Yeah, it was in Modern. Caleb Durward was playing this deck for a while, and then it very quickly they changed the rules regarding. It might have been the same rule that got changed with a nerfed Cascade.
It might have been because I know Valky, God of Lies, was the one that a lot of people were abusing with that. Yeah, Valky flipping into getting Tibble Cosmic Imposter, the 7-drop Planeswalker down on turn 2 and stuff like it. That kind of stuff was getting ridiculous. But yeah. So I know that was the
Tybalt's Trickery or whatever.
Yeah, Tybalt's Trickery was a uniquely messed
I said
up.
Mizzix Mastery. I was thinking Trickery.
Tybalt's Trickery is this card is beyond nuts. I'll never forget that. I actually watched my buddy Odd Dean. I'm sorry for everyone who's heard me tell the story 1,000 times, but I literally watched him mulligan to 1 and draw the exact 2 cards to hit a Tybalt's Trickery combo, Genesis Ultimatum, and I was staring down an Ugin Spirit Dragon on turn 2. That was during the Kaldheim early access. It was the first time players were able to play this card, and I got absolutely dumpster bodied on a mull to 1 because of Tybalt's Trickery.
Yeah, stupid card.
Card's dumb,
but they changed the rule. I think it was because of this, but it changed all the Cascade rules, and there was this weird deck before that used to play fuse cards or split cards. All you had to do is hit the first half, and then you could cast both sides. But
silly.
Yeah, anyway, changing the rules, I think, I was talking about real Magic earlier, and people were like, well, what is real Magic? Do you want to play for ante? That's real Magic. That's the game, the way it was designed to be. They were literal cards. Do you want to play with mana burn? Do you want to play with damage going on the stack? All of those things they exist. You really do? I don't, man. I don't want to go back to mana burn days.
My mock fanatics and Tuco Husks really missed damage on the stack. That was great.
Yeah.
But anyway, right. I miss mana burn. You either give us back mana burn or drain or make mana drain illegal in every format and recall it for safety purposes, or give us mana burn back. In my opinion, So that's just my opinion on that.
Mana Drain. Well, I don't run into Mana Drain too often outside of Vintage Cube, but if you play Brawl, and,
If you play
it's
Brawl, you see it all the
in
time.
Arena.
Yeah, it is on
Yeah,
Arena. So it
it
is the premier counterspell in Timeless, and you see it in Brawl all the time. Which Brawl also is one of those where I get it's a perfectly fine way to play Magic.
It's a Magic variant.
It's a Magic variant. It is a lovely format for people who are into it. Yep. Yes.
Yeah. It's great. And people who enjoy it, have fun. That's great. If you want to strip mine and mana drain each other all day, hey, go nuts. I've done it enough. I don't need to do it anymore. I would prefer a much more structured, tight format with more interesting things going on, like standard or what have you. But anyway, but it did bring up a interesting, the real Magic conversation. What do you consider real Magic? And like I said, I think really it comes down, yes, rule changes are good. I don't think we want to go back to real Magic doesn't mean original Magic. I think we can all agree that the original car is not as good and safe and power and everything else as cars today, right? We would never go back to that design.
Right.
It was a prototype back in those days. Alpha, beta, unlimited, they were beta tests. They were figuring it out. And years later, many rules changes and other things later. I think that aspect of the game is solid. The rules and all that stuff that we've been just rambling about for the last however long.
Right.
That is the best part. That's one of the greatest things about Magic, unlike all these other games. But again, I think in terms of gameplay, those rule changes don't change the fact that, it really is a game that's made to be played one-on-one, where there's no politics and there's no king making and there's no, and all the other things that come into play with multiplayer and other variants of Magic that are, again, still fun, but, for competitive play. And so when a lot of players want to play this format, I want to play, what are the best decks? What is the meta game? Like it's best of 3 one-on-one Magic, right? And I'd like to see them pay more attention to that, because I feel like that's the aspect of Magic that gets the least love these days, is just one-on-one best of 3 Magic. And whether it's the sets that come out or all the product they release or everything, it almost feels like they are very much focused on the variants and not on the actual core game. And I was saying today, I think I'm very doomsayer here by saying something like this, but I think the writing's been on the wall for a while with competitive Magic. I know years ago, even the changes to the Pro Tour, and even pros saying, "Screw this! I'm going to make videos on YouTube because forget about the Pro Tour. You're never doing it. Like the variance is too high. It's way too hard to get. The prize structure. They don't compensate. They don't incentivize us to go. Like they used to pay your airfare and accommodation if you qualified for the Pro Tour. It was crazy. Like it was the gravy train. You could do that as a living. That's done these days, right? For years.
Right.
But not only that, I feel like even just competitive Magic in general, like our podcast, we talk about a lot of different things. We're not a competitive podcast, but I listen to a lot of other competitive podcasts. I know many of them have stopped broadcasting. I know very recently, within the last few months, the Dive Down said, we're not going to care about modern. They were a big modern podcast. They're just like, we're done. Sam Black stopped doing his podcast. He was all about limited. He said, I'm going to focus on CEDH. Like that's where I think I'm going to get more traction and everything else. And I can't blame the guy, but goddamn, like he was one of the best limited minds on the planet. He still is. I want to hear his draft podcast every week. No, he's done with it. The Grindcast, I know those guys are the casual spikes there, but they all play in the RCs. They all qualify. They're all very good players. They shut down their podcast. I know Bolt the Bird with Nathan Stoyer stopped, and just all the, I feel like the competitive, the Channel Fireball and Star City Games and all the big sites laying off their writers a long time ago. I feel like, we're seeing the death of competitive Magic slowly and surely. I think it ties into the bannings and the Vivi problem and all that, how long is it going to go on before they realize we can't do this? We can't balance these formats and print powerful commander cards like Vivi and Nadu and these cards into these sets. Like it's too hard to do both. And at some point I feel like they're just going to cut their losses and be like, look, let's just make commander. And hey, if other organizations want to do their own Pro Tour, I mean, they stopped handling their own competitive circuit a long time ago, right? Like it was DreamHack, and before that Channel Fireball was responsible for Grand Prix. Now it's Star City Games. Like I think they're slowly washing their hands of it. Here's Magic Online. Go ahead, Daybreak. Take care of it. We're done with that. We're just going to print, mostly stuff for Magic variant formats because that's what sells. And that's very obvious. And I think competitive Magic is dying, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think it's eventually going to disappear. It just doesn't make sense for them to keep propping it up anymore, especially when all we do is bitch about bannings or no bannings, or they can't do anything right, it seems, because we just complain no matter what they do. I think it's not even their fault. It's just impossible to fix. It's impossible to balance. It would require making commander cards be printed in a separate set. They would print sets for just constructed competitive play and sets for casual play, but they will never do that. I think putting it all together in one set is eventually just going to kill competitive Magic. So we'll see. But
Oof.
I know dark days. I'm being very doom and gloom. I'm sorry to say this, and maybe I'm off my rocker, but it's just I don't know. The writing's on the wall. I feel like
I don't think so though. I think you're on. I think you're onto something there. I mean, I don't know. The death of people have been talking about the death of Magic for for decades now,
not
and
the
people
game.
have been.
Oh no,
you're right.
Magic
the Gathering as a brand is going to be fine. Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's going
great.
real hard. But you're saying like the competitive like standard
Magic.
Modern. I mean, like, actually, you're kind of
Yeah.
seeing it with Pioneer, right? Like, okay, I understand that they created Pioneer, like, and like it was really hitting its stride, and then the pandemic happened, which completely like took all the wind out of its sails. So like, I get that format was kind of, it got dealt a really crappy hand, just in general as far as like mainstream adoption. But then they're clearly not trying to prop it up. They're clearly
hold on. To be clear, Pioneer they gave up on before the pandemic happened. They basically abandoned the format. It was abandoned. And then the pandemic happened, and that's when they gave up on Standard. Standard just died completely. And then
pretty much
with the Mythic Championships, remember those online championships? They were all
the
they were Pioneer
whole MPL and all that jazz.
Yeah, the first big paper tournament after COVID was Pioneer as well.
Oh,
so it was like Pioneer gung ho. It was like it was super Pioneer at the end of the pandemic, and then they just dropped it again. It's twice they've abandoned that format now. I don't know why.
Wild.
Why they keep doing it. It's so crazy.
Are they not seeing? But do they not see value in it? Because like why even like why try to pick it back up or whatever? Like, and if at the end of the day the market for 60 card competitive is just significantly smaller than the market for Commander. Which I think is the case. I think that's like unquestionable at this point. Like, right? It's very obvious that the Commander market is just way bigger because kitchen table scrubs like me are out there. But at the same time, here's the thing. So I'm coming from a kitchen table scrub mentality who enjoyed the casual game, and I'm looking at like I have been like playing basketball at the rec center for a long time, and I'm looking at the pros going, damn, those guys are doing great. Like, maybe there's a walk-on tryouts. Like, what do I got to do to get over there? And like, I want to do that, and I'm doing the drills on Arena, and I'm wanting to, like, maybe I could have an impact on the bigger game, and I think that's really, really cool, and I would like to do that. And there's an aspirational element there that I have felt that is very real, and I think Wizards understands that. But are they willing to really put the money behind it? Because I think that there is value there. I feel like the competitive scene, the Pro Tour, the World Championship has always been the bottom of the funnel. And casual Commander leading to like competitive Standard and Limited is a very different, like, it's a very different way to experience the game. But it's beautiful, and I think a lot of people will start with Commander and then see the competitive 60 card and go, oh, wait a minute. And the right people can still ultimately get there, because there are plenty of people who love both. And the problem is, I think one of the problems is a lot of people with buying power love both. And I like being able to go to my pre-release and play a game, play a couple games of Sealed, and then take my pool and go home and put it into my Commander decks. Like, I do like being able to do that.
I get it.
And so it's awesome. One of those where like, but I can appreciate the idea that like genuine, honest to goodness for Commander cards. Like there's certain Commander designs that like the moment you read them, it's like, oh, that's a Commander design. Like pretty much almost all the legends from like Aftermath, like those, they were built for Commander clearly. And the majority of those don't make an impact. Yeah. But like, it's no. But at the same time, some of them do. And when they do, limited. It affects the draft environment when a bunch of the rares and mythics are for Commander. But really, it's standard. I mean, we saw Nadu. We've seen the One Ring, of course, before that for Modern, and now Vivi. I mean, Vivi's
very clearly commander card. I don't know if you guys didn't mention this last week, but Gavin Verhey is on the record saying that they pushed Vivi specifically for commander. Like he's on one of his
Mm-hmm.
YouTube episodes saying this. And it's like, is anybody surprised? No. I mean, Vivi's
No.
clearly pushed. They could have gated it in multiple ways. They could have made it tap for mana. They could have just gave it regular prowess instead of super prowess. But they were like, it has to be good in a format where turn 1 Soul Ring is the most common play you can make. How are we going to make this card relevant in that format without it breaking standard? It's impossible. Well, we push it. Let's just make it just a little bit okay. And then, oh, here we are. And now it's 40% of the metagame. And it's like, God damn it. What do we do?
Yeah.
So I don't know
if that exact card, if that exact card as it was printed was in one of the commander decks, which I understand there wasn't a Final Fantasy IX commander deck, but like, given how many of those characters are in the main set, like I would be shocked if they didn't have a draft of one. Which, like, you put it into a commander deck and make it like in, you know, put it as a supplemental like collector booster thing, like you just make it non-standard legal. Just the moment you put a special guest slot on that, and then you're fine. Like, but
then people will bitch and moan about it being impossible to open.
That impossible to open,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
It's the card on the pack. It's the card whose picture's on the booster pack and on the box. And like there was packs with him on. Like Vivi's like one of the main characters. This is what I was saying like a year ago when they announced they were going to put Universes Beyond sets. And I said one of the issues here, and I wrote an article about this saying the 3 big issues I had. One of them was that these Universes Beyond sets incentivize them to really push individual cards because that is the IP, one of the central characters. Like, I'm surprised not more of them are pushed, but they, you know, it seems like they pushed one. So is this what we should expect? Like, is every Universes Beyond set going to have a Vivi? Going to have a, you know, Nadu? Or, you know, Nadu is an in-universe set, but, you know, the One Ring, it's the same thing. They knew we have to push this. It's the One Ring. We've got to make it. And when they and everybody's like, wow, this has to be banned. Like right away, people were like, this is busted. Like,
this is insane.
And they were like, no, we'll ban this, we'll ban that, we'll ban a bunch of other stuff around it, just like Vivi. Like we all are guessing that they're going to ban Cauldron, not Vivi, because but you know, eventually Vivi will be banned. It's inevitable. This card is too pushed for standard. Why? Because it's designed for a format where, like turn 1 Soul Ring. It's just like Initiative, just like, you know, all the other mechanics that just destroyed Legacy, destroyed Pauper. They immediately had to ban all those Initiative. They're multiplayer cards. They're not designed for the way Magic is supposed to be played. They're breaking, you know, that's what I mean by, the real Magic thing and variants. These are cards for variant formats. That's why they don't make sense in one-on-one. In 4-player Commander, this is totally fine. Like, Vivi's, you know, powerful, but not like the craziest best thing you can do.
No,
but in standard, it's an issue.
It's rock solid. Yeah. It's kind of nuts. Yeah.
People still love it. It's powerful. Yeah.
Of course it is.
Anyway, boy, what a dark podcast. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're fine. It always comes back to it. And Vivi is I will just always say this. Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorites. That game is amazing. And Vivi is a wonderful, very wholesome, great little character who has a wonderful arc. And I adore him. But this card, man. The emotional dissonance that I feel every time I see this card is very real. You know, like I want to love him and hug him, but also rip it up. Like, it's
Final Fantasy 1. This guy's right out of my childhood, like Black Mage in Final Fantasy 1.
Straight up,
like Vivi with the hat. That's him. Like that's I remember playing.
And in Final Fantasy 9, all the characters, all the aesthetics are modeled after like the OG. Like that's one of the things that made that game so good is that the art aesthetics, like when you meet like your healer character for the first time, she's wearing a robe just like those white mages. Like it looks exactly the same. I love it. It's like the aesthetics are just top tier. Final Fantasy 9, great game. Love it. Anyway.
So but again, we'll see what Universes Beyond brings. I hope Spider-Man doesn't have some ridiculous cards. So far, I don't know. I haven't poured over the spoilers, but I don't.
The thing that I find amazing about Spider-Man is I know for me, I feel like that first drop they did, a bunch of people were talking about it, and now it has completely fallen off. I have not seen much excitement about it at all. I do not see, I don't see people posting about it. You know, like when I'm looking through the previews, I'm seeing cards that were previewed at this point, like coming up on a month ago, that I think are kind of interesting. And like, I haven't seen anyone else. They don't seem
power level. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons is it's a small set. I don't think it was originally designed to be a big set. We all know this. I think they came out and said this, right? So I think it was more like an Assassin's Creed or a Doctor Who type thing, but then they had to make it for standard. So Assassin's Creed was another set that wasn't super powerful. It was just like a niche little IP thing. But I feel like when it's their main set, like it's the flagship sets, like these are the sets that are legal in every format, that's when they're really pushing it. So maybe Spider-Man not being pushed as hard is because it was originally not supposed to be like a main set, and it was just a Fallout or an Assassin's Creed type set. I don't know, but maybe we get to dodge a bullet on this one, and then Avatar just has a banger that has to be banned in standard. We'll see, but
It's possible. It's
I really
so
hope I'm
funny.
wrong.
It's so funny though. I think you're exactly right. I wouldn't be surprised. We have seen in the past where they've designed cards for a certain type of set, and then a predecessor has failed, and they've had to course correct. The big score in Thunder Junction. They commented that was meant to be Thunder Junction Aftermath, but then after March of the Machine Aftermath was like universally panned and generally just disliked, they realized
People were not happy. Yeah.
This packaging and this kind of delivery mechanism does not work. Got it, message received, which thank you for receiving that message, but they had designed the set already, and so they just sort of shoehorned it in as a bonus sheet. But it was legal in all the formats. And so that was its own kind of weird, interesting thing. But with Assassin's Creed, it was a commander only supplemental product, and from what I can tell, I don't believe it sold particularly well, and I think that's because the reason people like the Assassin's Creed games is because you get to run around through history, like you get to parkour and stab people, and that's the gameplay loop in those games is fun. Like, I don't think people necessarily really want to try to embody those assassin dreams on cardboard. I haven't seen it's one of those things where I feel like the translation kind of loses the appeal. And I think it's just the product. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do, or just the IP. It's just the property. I suspect that ultimately just was never really going to translate into sales.
True.
I don't believe that's going to be an issue with Spider-Man. Yeah.
No, and again, Spider-Man's going to be a main set. Like Final Fantasy sold a ton because it's also just a regular set release,
but
unlike those other ones.
If Spider-Man was intended to be one of these supplemental products, and their takeaway from Assassin's Creed was, these like supplemental Universes Beyond products don't sell, therefore we need to do something different. Can we make it a mainline standard set? And that's when can we add a few more to it and make it like draftable and shoehorn it on Arena? What? We can't get it on Arena? Well, we'll figure it out. Whatever, it's fine. And they just if it was a late season course correct, I wouldn't be surprised if it was in response to the poor performance of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
that the timing on that kind of tracks. Yep.
So could totally be true. But I mean, what does that mean for the power level of the set? I'm just hoping we don't get any Vivis in that set, or Nadus, or there has to be a name. What do we call it? The X factor. That super pushed card, pushed for commander, pushed to sell boxes because they know it's going to sell. The chase mythic. If they just push it a little bit too far, we've seen what happens. We're in the middle of it now.
Right.
I just wonder if Spider-Man. Yeah, I wonder if we get to dodge a bullet with that, and then maybe the next full set, maybe Avatar is going to have something that's just way too overpowered. I worry that this is the norm now and not the exception. It seems like it's happening all the time. I mean, we just saw the biggest ban in standard in 20 years happen, and now people are saying something needs to be banned immediately after that. Like immediately now. Like people don't want to even wait till November. It's destroying standards. So
and it's so crazy too because I haven't heard anybody say like, oh, the bans were wrong. It was no, they just missed one. Like they hit 7 things and they still missed
more.
One.
Yeah. That's what most people are saying. They should have banned more. Ban 10 cards. It's like, where do you stop though? Where do you stop? You can't just ban like a bunch of stuff like this. Not to mention the fact that you don't know if some of the stuff you banned would have actually kept this in check. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it would have been, obviously Corey Steele probably had to go and some others, but like, I don't know. Maybe Hopeless Nightmare would have given Esper at least keep Vivi in check or, what have you. I don't know. It's impossible to know now, but it's interesting to think about. But anyway, God, what a dark. Woo. This has been all. You have me on the podcast. We're talking doom and gloom, baby.
Nah, man,
all day.
I always appreciate your perspective because you do have some very interesting insights, and it's coming from a very different place than where I'm at, and I really value that perspective. So thank you for sharing it.
Thank you, dude. That's
Absolutely.
why I like actually doing the podcast with you guys too, because for the same reason. I think you guys have made me realize that like the competitive stuff is fine and everything, but really I need to engage with the casual side of Magic more in order to keep enjoying this game, I think. And like I said, this probably ties into what I was saying earlier, where I think being really competitive with Magic is a dying thing, and I think it's eventually going to die off to the point where tournaments will still happen and stuff, but I think
tournaments
casual is the way forward. And
yeah,
I just don't think it's it's already not the focus of the games, and I think it's just gonna keep going in that direction. So maybe embrace it. Can't beat them, join them, right?
That's an option. But I'm hopeful that there will be a place for standard. I hope we never truly lose it. I really hope we never truly lose it. Yeah.
Well, I hope it's fun to play too, because even if we don't lose it, but it's like this, then I don't know if I want it. But,
that's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
40% of the metagame is one deck, but
yeah, it's the whole thing.
Anyway,
interesting stuff. So
do we have anything else to?
I think that covered what I wanted to cover. I don't have a question of the day on tap. You think I would by now? You think I'd have an idea? But I feel like we've covered a lot of the go-tos. Actually, you know what? I can recycle the question from last week and get your opinion. I'm curious. Like, so with Spider-Man being completely painted, rebranded, if you will, for Arena, what plane would you like to see it on, or what plane do you think it'll be?
What plane?
Yeah.
Oh God. For Spider-Man specifically?
Yeah.
So, but it's not Spider-Man. So for that set, but it's
for the in-universe
that I don't know
version of Spider-Man. What do you have any ideas as to how they might flavor it magically? Like where they fit it in the multiverse?
No, there's no plane I think would fit. I could say Ravnica or something because it's a city and it's like Metropolis City or New York or wherever.
Right.
Spider-Man's in New York, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, something like that, so that the web slinging and all that stuff could still like at least make sense. Capenna or Ravnica, maybe a city environment. But honestly, I'd like to see a new plane. I think if they do a universes within set, it should be a new plane. And honestly, like, it's not that hard. The cards are all designed, so they have to come up with the lore, but it's not that hard to put together. Is it? I don't know. A forest plane where everybody's swinging through the trees, or
yeah, they have a brilliant creative team. I'm sure they could come up with something. Yeah,
I'd like to see a new plane or a city plane. Yeah.
The other side of that, though, the other question there, are the future Marvel sets that we're going to see going to have the same treatment? So building a separate plane where they could put all of those theoretically, where they'd have analogs, is probably a safe idea.
Maybe that would. See, that would be like the smart thing to do, where you're thinking ahead and planning it. That's not what they're gonna do. They're gonna put it on Innistrad or whatever, and it's gonna be like, oh great.
And it's going to completely mess with all the lore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the whole lore of that set is going to, that plane is going to get kicked in the teeth because they're shoehorning all this stuff into it. Yeah.
It's Zendikar. Yeah, the Blind Eternities contain not only Eldrazi, they contain everything in all universes. So even superheroes can pop out of there. And I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're in for a ride. I mean, as far as content creation goes, you think we'd be happy with this? We're over the moon. We've got nothing but content for days and for as far as the eye can see, right?
It is a first world problem, right? Yeah,
yeah, in a way. Well, for me, I'm more competitive focused. If you're a casual streamer, this has got to be, you're eating well. You're loving all the crazy
it's
stuff.
It's tough to keep up, man. Right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude. And I'm doing 24-hour streams every time a new set drops. Like, I've done already. I don't know. I've done like 3 this year.
Dude, your sleep schedule must be messed up right now, man.
Well, it was a while ago, but it's like getting to the point where it's a little more frequent than I wanted. But whatever. I'm gonna try until I have an aneurysm on stream. We'll keep going.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll hope Spider-Man drafts well. Yeah. I've got problems, but Spider-Man's not supposed to be. Yeah. Spider-Man's not supposed to be drafted with 8 players. It's only supposed to be 4. I know this set there, or when Spider-Man drops, they're going to start that mode on Arena. 4-person draft, for those of you who didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, pick two draft, I think is what they were calling it. I mean, what are your thoughts on
Pick
that?
two,
Do
yeah,
you,
right.
like how? I mean, we haven't played it yet, so who knows? But I mean, what are your first impressions on that draft format? Yeah, which for
I
folks
think
who
it's
who don't know, it's 4-person pod instead of an 8-person pod, and you pick two with each pick before you pass it along. So it should
right.
lead for
So less,
a lot faster and a lot easier to get a pod together, which is something. But
yeah.
yeah,
Easier
so
to get people, easier to fire pods. Like it's an obvious move for them, right? They'll make way more money, way more drafts firing per hour. But I think it's possible to it could be good,
mhm.
but I don't think it'll work with any set. I think some sets work better than others. So the big differences here are the card pool, right? With 8 players, you've got 24 packs. So all of your decks are going to be this good, like 7, 8 out of 10, whatever, 6 out of 10,
Mhm.
somewhere in that range. With less packs, like I've tried to draft with less people when we just, in real life we didn't have, and it's rough. You either have to draft more packs, but 2 picks doesn't make up for the fact that the card pool's smaller. You're not adding packs, right? It's not like each of you are
Right.
drafting 4 packs. So the decks are going to be weaker on average. You're trying to make up for that by picking 2 cards, but I think to make the decks not be noticeably weaker, the set has to be designed for that, which this was. Spider-Man was
Mhm.
specifically designed to be drafted with 4 players. That's what Morrow, I think, said, or some Aaron Forsyth, one of them. Somebody
Right.
said officially that was what they did, and now we're going to draft it with 8. But they didn't say if they changed the set to be good with 8-player draft. So I don't know. I think the 4-player draft is going to be good. What I'm worried about is the regular drafts being skewed and wonky. I don't know what a 4-player draft. So did they juice up the power level of the commons and uncommons to make up for the fact that the card pools were smaller for 4-person draft? If that's the case, then 8-person draft decks are going to be more powerful than your average draft set, right? Like by virtue of the fact
In
that the cards are
theory,
pushed.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, like so I think
Huh.
4-player draft could be great, but I think the set has to be designed for 4-player. I don't know how well a regular draft set translates to 4-player and pick 2. I still think you need another pack per player or something to give a
Right.
deeper card pool, but I don't know. Nobody I've never done that kind of draft. I think people have done it before. Like there's Winston and there's a bunch of other ways to draft,
Oh,
but
there are tons.
that's like
Yeah.
cube draft and other stuff. Yeah, like a regular set, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is gonna go, honestly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Double Masters was also like intended. I think it
Right.
was Double Masters was
And it was
intended to pick
designed.
2, and it was designed with that. Like
Yeah,
it
but it was
had like
designed with
more
that, right?
rares and more
Partner
mythics in each
abilities.
pack as a result, and all that jazz. Yeah, and I know like Commander
Yeah,
Legends.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure you had to pick. You got to
They,
pick 2, and that was
they,
also like one of those.
there were
But
partners.
yeah, right.
Yeah, they were showcasing
Yeah,
the partner thing, right? So you could
yeah,
draft 2 partners and stuff like that. But
yeah.
that was exactly right. Like the set was made to be
But they were
drafted
built
like
for
that.
it.
They
Yeah.
said, yes, they said Spider-Man was built to draft like that, which, okay, great. So maybe the 4-player draft is good, or pick 2 draft or whatever. But most people are still going to default to 8-player draft. Are they going to not have 8-player draft? This is what I'm so curious about. So the early access is going to be all over the place. Do you
That's
think
gonna
they'll
be
just
really.
not have 8-player for Spider-Man, or will they? I know it's not the Pro Tour format, even though it should be. They said no, they're not doing Spider-Man as the limited format for the Pro Tour.
You heard about that? Yeah,
Obviously, I think because of this kind
yeah.
of stuff. They don't want to say it's because the set is a shit show for 8 players. I mean, sorry for the
You're
language,
fine,
but
man. So,
it's
yeah,
not good for 8 players. They didn't say that. They just said, "Oh no, we're gonna do Edge of Eternities or whatever." Or I think they said Edge of Eternities for the next Pro Tour.
I think it is. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, weird,
Yeah.
but there must be a reason for that. And that reason to me sounds like it's not a great draft format for 8 players. So what about real life?
Yeah.
What about players who always draft with their crew? They're just going to have to split into 2 pods, I guess.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
maybe.
It's
Or
gonna be crazy.
what if like a 4-person pod really gets into this, and then when Avatar drops, they try to emulate it again? Like,
Then
is
what
that,
do they
how
do?
much of a
Yeah,
mess
and it
is that
doesn't
going to
work.
be? Like, yeah, yeah, it'll be
Well,
interesting to
that's
see.
what I'm saying. But this is
Hmm.
it's going to be a format on Arena. So now I would think
Yeah,
every set that comes out on Arena should have a 4-player draft variant, right? But does that mean every set from now on out is going to be built with that in mind? Probably not. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
you have no idea. And then,
We are in
do you want to?
uncharted waters.
Yeah, and do you want to split the limited queues in on Arena more than they
No,
already are? Like that seems like a bad idea. Just to
no.
unless you have data on that the player base is enormous and you think they can support it, but I'd be
I mean,
surprised if
there's
that's the
like
case. Yeah.
15 people who play Pioneer. It's the same like 15, 20 players a day in day out. Like I'm saying on Arena, there's already too many formats. Alchemy, Pioneer is I think the lowest played format. It's like there's like a small group of players who played and that's it. Adding another format, like you don't want to split. I don't know how long people are waiting to play some formats on Arena. It can't be that short, especially at certain times of the day or
in
night.
limited. I understand it generally doesn't take that long to fire a draft pod, especially shortly after a set comes out. But like, if the limited environment is now split, like, are there certain sets that they're going to do the pick 2 draft with and not the Premier 8 player draft? Yeah, like you're saying, like
that's
I feel
what
like
I'm wondering.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of
also,
or do they change the timing? Like instead of is it like pick 2 draft for 2 weeks and then 8-person draft like for a different 2 weeks?
Maybe.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
Because, dude, best of 3 draft does not fire very often. A few weeks after a set releases, best of 3 draft takes a little bit of time to fill up. Like, that's already an issue just with best of 3, best of 1. You're going to introduce pick 2 draft on top of that and quick draft. And it's like, because quick draft is always there a couple weeks later, especially for newer players. A lot of players will wait if they're not experienced with limited. They wait for the quick draft. I tell people if you're getting into limited, wait for a week or 2, play quick draft. It's much
half the price of entry, make some of the mistakes with
it's cheaper.
Exactly.
Yeah. But then you're going to add another draft format. I feel like it's going to affect queue times at the very least, but you look at the numbers. I mean, just on Steam, we don't have the real numbers, but because Magic's on Steam now, we do have the Steam numbers. We saw they peaked at about, I think it was just under 30,000 players for Final Fantasy, the peak concurrent player count. And then normally we see a big drop off. I think Dragonstorm and Aether Drift and stuff, they peaked at like 12,000. So we were expecting Final Fantasy was 30, it was huge, and then a lot of people were expecting it to drop a lot, but it didn't. Edge of Eternity's peaked at like 27,000. It was very close. So in other words, a lot of the new players that came on from Final Fantasy, at least on Steam, it appeared they stuck around for the next set. So maybe the number of players is growing to the point where they can split the queues and add another, we don't have these numbers, but they do. So maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
I think your camera froze.
Oh, it sure did.
Camera froze.
It does that from time to time. All right.
But we'll see. It's uncharted waters, like I said. I don't know what's coming. We're going to have lots of novel experiences in Magic very soon from the Universes Beyond set. Spider-Man's going to be 2 different sets in one, or I don't know what you want to call that. It's going to be wild stuff. 2 pick 2 draft, whatever is new. Lots of new stuff happening. So stay tuned to MagicJank. We'll give you the updates. Absolutely. I'll tell you my raw opinions, like it or not, trigger it or not.
After we get a chance to play with the pick 2 draft, I definitely want to get your opinion and Headology's opinion. I want to hear you go deep on that.
I'm gonna do it. I think for early access, that's all I want to do is limited these days. I wait for the constructed stuff, but
honestly, I think that's a good idea.
We'll see how it goes.
During the early access, I usually play in the constructed queues and tinker with deck ideas, and then just complain about everybody who's not running the new cards. And that's that's getting a little frustrating. So maybe I should just play more limited. Yep, maybe that's the answer.
And draft costs money, right? Draft is gems and gold. You can't play for free. So if you get a free 24 hours of just jam as many of these as you can, because
you're not wrong. You can get the
hundreds
reps
of dollars worth, basically. Yeah.
Potentially. I hadn't really stopped to appreciate that. Yep. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But that is all I have to say right now. There's
rock on, man.
Everything else is we're waiting to see what comes down the pipe. So
indeed. So fingers crossed on a Vivi ban before long. In the meantime, thank you to all of you folks out there playing like off meta stuff in the standard queues. You're beautiful. Keep doing what you do. And like and subscribe. Find us on all the places. And we'll catch you on the next one, everybody.
And broaden your horizons. Play other formats. You don't have to play constructed competitive. But if all you do is play Commander, or all you do is draft, or all you do is play standard, play some other stuff. Play some Dan. Play some do some drafting experience. The more different formats you play, even if you don't love them all, you'll be a better player for it. You'll be more experienced with the game. Dabble.
And I can confirm, I have played Commander with Damien. We have done that. That has happened. I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
And you seem to be enjoying yourself at least a little bit. Maybe you were faking it. I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, I should have played a pre-con though. I was playing my stupid Teferi combo deck, and I remember I played back to basics, and everybody glared at me like, this douchebag. What the hell is he doing? Anyway, I think it was back to basics or some enchantment. I locked everybody's lands down.
I see. You
People were not happy.
you were trying to play real Magic, and they were trying to play Commander. It's just
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
I dig it though.
Learn real Magic first, then branch out, kids. That's
then
all
branch out. Exactly.
Right.
All right.
Let's get out of
So
here.
later, everybody.
Peace.